Hey guys, I thought I'd just start making a video. Um, I think I'll title this video something like The Cycle of News Media Drama or something like that. It'll probably be a little bit different than that, but I think that'll be the starting topic of this video. Basically, so there's kind of always something in the media, always something new, some new controversy, and people always, turn their heads and get sort of consumed by whatever drama is in the news, Kanye, frickin' whatever else, and really, you know, it's always just something to kind of keep our attention, something to talk about, something to just whatever. And I kind of have this feeling about it like it's some sort of cycle, and it's like people have moments in their lives, controversial moments, and I feel like a lot of people will have these moments, but like the fact that some people are so in the media spotlight, it really just makes it, the subject of attention. Where many people who aren't in the media spotlight or whatever, people don't give a fuck, and it's just normal everyday shit. So like, um, there's some shit going down with like Liver King right now, and honestly, it's like I don't even know if I have the energy or care enough to really delve into that. And um, something about it is like, um, I yeah, I don't know, man. There's it's like I don't know. I think Liver King has messages and stuff. He's got some stuff that's like actually kind of right, like about animal-based nutrition and stuff, but I think he really has like his paradigm is not something I think people should, really want to walk in the footsteps of, because he takes steroids and supplements and all this different stuff, and we all know what happens to stuff, to people who take that path. I mean, I love I love some people that do, go down that line, because a lot of those people end up being very motivational. They try to inspire people. They try to have a message. Um, they try to inspire people to, get up and work out and stuff. And like Rich Piana is a good example. A lot of the greats in like bodybuilding and shit like that, people, a lot of them use steroids, and I watch the Trend Twins, but it's like it just kind of comes with it. I feel like, knowing, like, kind of get once you learn about what happens with people who do steroids, there's sort of like commonalities, and you kind of expect something. I mean, Sam Solik is kind of, he doesn't have the crash outness with steroids that other people have, but like if something happens to him health wise, it's not gonna be that much of a surprise, because I don't. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's put up very well, and I don't like really critiquing these kinds of people, because they have worked so hard, and these people have made a career, made tons of money, and they're successful in their own right. And like, I don't want to, nitty gritty just pick them apart. And it's like, I don't like the whole paparazzi thing, where paparazzi really gets in people's businesses and really tries to magnify, sort of try to dirt dig or whatever on people's lives. I mean, Liver King, he's kind of almost, sometimes people do it to themselves, um, celebrity obsession, and I think, um, like Justin Bieber, it's like I remember growing up and as like, um, the news. This is something, I want to address, but I don't want to have it be like the main fucking thing. You know what I mean? Because there's people who really make a living off of doing that, and I don't want to do that. And want, I just kind of want to address it and hopefully kind of put, you know, then we can move on. And so people are gonna have controversy and people can obsess over it, and um yes, people can be infallible, and you know what gets to me is when people like, when people who are lower on the rung of like, status, or like they don't really, like, no one knows who they are really, like you don't recognize their name or anything, and like it's random ass, just small, like, random ass people on the internet who just talk mad shit, and it's like people will lie their asses off or whatever, and or at least I think they just lie their asses off, and like, they'll say stuff like, oh, he's on meth or something, and it's like, really, people will just, it's their giggle fest or whatever, and that is the thing that is gets to me more than the actual controversies, is because people will see these figures in the public who are having their moments of like crashing out or like controversy, and they'll totally be oblivious to their own susceptibility to crash out moments, to like their own controversy, and it's like, it's really just, I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like, man, these people, what I want to say is, if they could just look in the mirror or something, and I don't know, because that's my feeling on it, is like you usually see that accompanying stuff like this. Um, and maybe it's not even some crash out moment, but people just kind of leave comments like that, and on people's posts, and like, I'd like to think of one. There's this one hippie chick. I forget her name, but she makes content on the internet. Freaking, she makes music. Like, she just posts a bunch, and I think you guys know who I'm talking about probably, but she has like, dreadlocks. Um, she has dreadlocks, and like she's usually posting a song she's made or something, doing concerts. She's talking about doing psychedelics, and her songs are really trying to bring positivity and stuff. And that sort of content really sort of kicks up the dirt, and like really exposes a lot of stuff. A lot of people come out the woodworks and they start exposing themselves for their own content of their character, like, um, maybe accusing her of doing drugs, or saying some stuff about like some provocative stuff, and and it's like people will talk mad shit, and it's like, um it's just kind of a cliche, man. It's like, it's like she would never get with someone who talks shit like that, probably. I don't know. And it's just a strange thing that, people will treat people like that with such, rejection, or try to publicly reject them. And it's like she probably, I don't know, man, but your rejection is probably, a good thing, because it it's just a strange thing, because uh people will sort of toil and sort of maybe talking shit and just maybe outlashing on the world, having a giggle fest over uh, things in the news, and man, the world, man, is like, there's there's it's a good thing though, because it's like that it that can be a focus in life, is when people, things that sort of bother you, can be sort of like, okay, it's a task of like a problem to solve. And so I think that's what motivates me to make a video like this, is because it's been sort of something I want to conquer, or like, work on. I want to have that be my task, is like addressing this sort of stuff. And people like David Goggins, they make posts trying to inspire people, and he's made so many sacrifices and really suffered to like really try to make himself the best that he can, and to push himself to achieve goals. And and people like Cameron Haynes are very similar in that regard. They push themselves like crazy. Joe Rogan is a great example. He's really done a lot to like try to motivate people, uplift people, promote healthy advice. You know, eat cleaner, eat better, quit sugar, cut out the, the junk food. Try to exercise, go outside, get in nature. Um, try to love people. Joe Rogan, a lot of these people, they try to spread positivity, and they're just trying to do their best in this world. And then there's other people who are just never satisfied or something, and always have something to say. And sure, these people might say things that aren't, who knows if how correct it is, or like maybe someone responds to some sort of like content out there, or like Joe Rogan's done this a million times, where he responds to something and he doesn't get it quite right or whatever. But if he's presented with the information, he will change his mind usually, and it's like, and try to correct himself. And maybe everyone out there is just trying to, correct him, or other people. And it's I don't know, it's like uh it's a strange thing, because there's so much, I don't know how to say it, negativity, or like so much people just, I don't know, talking shit, that it's understand. And the length of such messages, or like, all of it, it's like people don't want to just dedicate to just sacrifice whatever they're doing, so they can just listen to a random ass person talk. And it's very understandable why people don't do that, why people don't just pry their attention off of something, and give it to someone else. Um and I think that's quite understandable, because I think sometimes it's like the idea of the wheat from the chaff, and it's a difficult thing because it's like people don't want to think of themselves. People really insist that they're what they have to say is really important, and honestly, I mean, I think everyone probably has something to share, or at least I would like to think that. And like, so it can really kind of hurt our ego if we don't get the attention we feel like we want or think we would like to believe that we deserve or whatever. And it's very I think it causes a lot of distress in this world where people feel like um, maybe they don't get attention, so they try to lash out more. And um, you get stuff like the CEO uh, who got shot and killed, and like all this stuff. And I I think there's a way of addressing it when people don't give you attention and stuff. And I don't think I don't agree that when people don't give you attention that you need to just try to make yourself louder. Honestly, um, I, eh, but I think there can be healthy avenues of doing that that don't include having to get violent or whatever. And I think people if I think if people really wanted to have their voices heard, they would just maybe try to do something like this where they make a video and um maybe just try to catalog their thoughts and have it preserved somewhere. And then um maybe just try to move on. And if it spreads, then it spreads. But you know, there's a lot of things people will do to try to spread their ideas, and sometimes people will do things that it's like, some people will think that the music industry is all about like just about advertising or like paying people off and just corporate bullshit. And I feel like with this is it's like I don't think that's really the case. I think music that is actually good, I think a lot of it gets attention eventually and will get the attention it deserves. And it'll get planted like a seed and eventually flower. And that happens a lot. And there's a lot of great bands out there that are obscure and all that. And that's a beautiful thing when you discover something like that, and then you get to see the growth or the spread of like the sharing of like um I guess the mutual interest or ideas. And that can be a really good thing. And you can't it's like trying to force things to spread by spending money, or just trying to have your friends share your mixtape or something like that. I don't think that's really such a viable way of doing things, of just trying to force people to listen to your stuff. And I think I think you would really want people to voluntarily experience what it is you have to share versus um, trying to make someone expose things to people that maybe they don't um, want to otherwise. I don't know how to explain it. Like, there's so much in this world. There's so many books. There's so much stuff that um, we don't really have the time, I feel like, to really just sit there and try to read every book. um, we can try to understand books, and um, it's like reading a captcha or reading a terms of service agreement. Not everyone is going to do that. Not everyone is going to read us terms of service agreement, and sometimes that can actually be a good thing, because if you're trying to share a message and it's not really getting across, then maybe it's time to like refine your message, or to like say something to really try to craft your message in a way that's beautiful, and to refine your own work, and like to just keep at it, to keep trying to um, hone your skills, what your message, and um, and that's really about like adapting and survival, and I understand that, in my own life, if this message doesn't really spread to that many people, then I feel like that's okay. And if the way I deliver the message right now isn't in a way that is, widely accepted, or palatable for people, then that's okay for me, because I know that, we have time in this world, and like, um, and even beyond. So it's like, I, um, I don't feel a big rush, but I feel enough pressure to want to, you know, do something and to get started. And that's, we can think of it as like, a journey or a start to something. And I think a lot of this stuff, like political wise, where people get desperate to share their message and to do things to captivate people's attentions, I think a lot of that can actually kind of harm their own message. And it's yeah, um because the things people will do for attention sometimes is like, um can be maybe not the healthiest thing to do. And so if we can get our message across in a healthy way, um I think that is a reasonable goal. And yeah, so with all this political news obsession and stuff like that, I want people to, I want people to be able to maybe recognize that it can be a form of a cycle, and that things happen like this, and that to sort of account for it, and be like, oh, this, I knew this was going to happen. So we knew that there's these potholes in the road. We knew that there's this area of the town that is, um, has potholes in it, or whatever, and or this road isn't paved, or this road got tore up, so we have to take an alternate route, and that sort of stuff. So it's like, um people people treat this sort of stuff in the news and all that like it's something that is like it's salient, or it's something of interest. Like it's like, oh, this is important. This is newsworthy, or like, um it's a way of getting people to pay attention. And people use these as opportunities to come off as clever or to try to be funny, and I don't know, there's it can feel very much like a cycle to me, and at a certain point it's like, um you know, you kind of experience something so many times, you know, maybe it's like, um you just start to understand it. I feel like in that sense you can maybe just begin to move on, and you know, people will get really stuck on stuff like this, and you know, make jokes, and people people I think will use stuff like that to reaffirm their own sort of, I don't know, bullshit. I don't know, like, um, to sort of reaffirm their nihilistic beliefs, maybe. Like, um, you know, Brian Johnson, aka Liver King, he's trying to share health and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, you know, he's paying a price for, his choice to do steroids and to play a character, and um, he's trying to share a message about ancestral what he calls tenets, and I think what he's doing with that is he's trying to share a beautiful message of, like, you know, get out there and exercise, and you know, get some sun, and you know, eat healthy, clean foods, and um, sort of trying to make a return to sort of, I guess, ancestral tenets, or sort of ways of being, and you know, there's kind of this crying out for a return to things in our past that are of use, and you know, because the world we live in today is so full of technology, and our world today is so full of technology, so full of processed food, so full of, like, there's pollution in the environment, medicines, drugs, and it's understandable people almost have a nostalgia or a yearning for, like, simpler, cleaner times where we didn't have to worry about the quality of water if we, you know, you had a good source or whatever, like, or like, I mean, like, yes and no, but it's like we had a way of mapping out things that I feel like, we could kind of understand, how life was going to be, and so life is so different now that our life is different, and that, and so it's like, as a species, we're not, maybe it's like we got to get used to the new sort of changes, and there's people kind of yearn for things that are older, and I really understand that, because you know, I think things like diet, you know, eating natural foods, I think that's definitely a step in the right direction, and you know, exercise too, like understanding that we as a species used to sort of subsistence hunt, I think is called, or like, we would we would hunt animals by running long distances and many miles, until we would actually exhaust other animals. That was our where we would shine, is our evolutionary advantage, was we could outrun other animals to exhaustion, and we could withstand the elements and stuff, and there's something really special about that. And now today, people, we're in such a different environment that, you know, it's that we can't live it can be much more difficult to live a life like that. It's so far like out of reach, and it's kind of there's a lot of setbacks, um, to what made humans really beautiful in a sense, and you know, people. So many people nowadays have weight gain and chronic health issues or whatever, um, and we not only do we not even look the same, we don't even feel the same, and so we have to try to adjust for that and recognize that um, there is a history there, of sort of ancestral tenets, and so he is onto something, and it's important because um, when animals are in their natural mode of being, they it's like a fine tuning, and when animals are taken out of their natural environment and like put into zoos, it's a uncanny sort of, it's a totally different scenario that animals spent millions of years fine tuning to their environment, and then boom, they're switched into something new, and it's sort of starting from scratch in the evolutionary um, paradigm, I guess, where it's a totally new environment, and we got to get acclimated, and it's not right away, and it can take a while, and and so it's no wonder people want to go back sometimes, but um I do believe we have to go forward, but it's I think at the same time we can take things from the past and aim for things that were beautiful in the past while incorporating it into moving forward. Sometimes, it's like we have a destination, and sometimes we are taken from the destination, and so we have to find our way back, and in a way that is moving forward. So um I think really it's almost like a return to nature, and I think that's a really beautiful idea, honestly. And for people to comment on Liver King stuff, like, I haven't gone down the rabbit hole, and honestly, I don't know if I will with all this. But people will say, "Oh, he's on meth" or something, and what I get from that is like, "Oh, people are just trying to throw away." Um, I don't know. I feel like people are just trying to dismiss him or whatever, or and we have to be able to take things of value from people, even if people end up doing things that we really seriously do not agree with, and yeah, we have to try to take things that are of value and move on, and sometimes people can be like a mixed bag, and that's fine, and uh, we all wish that it wasn't like that, but um, you know, we um, I don't know what Liver King is up to. I don't There's so much I don't know about it, to where I don't know either which way. I don't know if he is even crashing out. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he was genuinely trying to threaten Joe Rogan. I don't know if he is hunting him down. And I think there's so much I don't know about it. And I don't know, and if the evidence falls into my lap or something, and then my maybe that will kind of change my mind or inform me. But I think with Liver King is I've always just kind of felt this thing about him where it's like I didn't know what was going to happen to him. Um, you know, with all the steroids he does, and um, yes, I think he eats a healthy diet, but I don't I don't know. I think that it's like everything else, all the supplements or drugs that he takes is like that really is a form of self harm, and it's he's chosen to do it, and I kind of wish he wouldn't, but I can understand it because it's like people have like the sense of glory with the characters who have done steroids, and people who get big is it's kind of like trying to be a character, almost like the WWE, and I see that like him, it's like it's almost like he wants to be a WWE character, wrestling star, and like a character, and um you know and I don't know. I guess I want to say is like, some people they do have it, they might have things that are important to say, and people might try to dismiss him, or like um I don't know, that's just a common theme, man. Like, there's very inspirational people out there, and like Courtney DeWalter, Joe Rogan, and people will just say things to like try to minimize or reduce them to nothing, like as if they understand them. And I feel like people generally don't, but I don't really know. So, um, but that's just, yeah. So it's just a weird thing I see repeatedly where people just try to throw things away, and it's like that's one thing that is kind of, I don't know if it's hatred or what, but like it's like people, you can just tell that some people, it's just they feel that way all the time, and or a lot of the times, and they just come into the comment section, and that's just the energy that they have, and it I don't know if it even has anything to do with like who they're talking about, and it's a weird thing. And so people just carry that energy with them, and yeah. So I I understand if people don't read hate comments and stuff. Joe Rogan says that he doesn't read his own hate comments. He'll read other people's, but not his own, and I can understand that, but you know, I do try to read that stuff, and I do try to give it attention, because that stuff is serious, and usually, um I don't know, usually there's something to sort of take away from it, and even if they're not really educating you, there's something you can do to better yourself because of it. And and I don't think that should be an excuse to act like that, but like to act like those people that are you see in the comments all the time and stuff like that. um yes, people can be better because of it, um but I mean, it can also fuck people up too, honestly. And it's like, luckily, or whatever, I don't know. I've been able to try to use it for something positive rather than have it be something that is like makes me have a negative self-image and be self-destructive and all that bullshit. But um I just try to, you know, recognize it. I see it more now as a challenge more than anything. and and I think it's something that can mature you about this world and actually give you a more mature attitude. And that can be important, you know, for like growing up. And yeah, and not being naive. And so um yeah, I so you know, be prepared for the unending. I mean, it'll probably end eventually, but like the cycles of just media drama, clickbait, all that stuff, celebrity crash out moments. And you know, even people you like, people you might look up to or whatever, people can have their moments. And you know, David Goggins, he says never put anyone on a pedestal. And he is saying like not even me. And it's saying like people can let you down. And it's, you know, it's a really, it's something that is like it really resonates because um you know, people can shift. And you don't have to uphold people all the time, even if you don't like, you don't have to agree with everything that someone says just because, you know, you once liked them or whatever. And um, people can say things that are definitely like, people can change. And people can like do things. People can, I don't know, like sell out, you know. And so um, and yeah. And so hopefully I addressed a lot of this stuff in this video. I don't think that's absolutely everything, but you know, I don't like um there's something about the media obsession that is like, I don't know, man. Um I think there's probably things that can be more important, you know. And sometimes we do have to put the phone down and try to change what it is that we're doing and try to do something more productive. And I understand, you know, we get hooked into the machine. You have to watch some stuff, but like, um, sometimes, you know, you can break free, you know. And it's such a cliche, but you know, go outside or read a book or like, um, do something you really enjoy, because that stuff is, that's what, you know, that sort of stuff is what can really be the highlight of your day. And um and yeah, there's a Tyler the Creator song about gets the chorus of it is that, you know, find some time to do something. And it's, yeah, it's really good. I think the song is called Boredom, but yeah, that's a really good song. And that's yeah. So I gotta end this video and kind of follow my own fucking advice here and try to do some stuff. But I wanted to address a lot of that media obsession type stuff. So, you know, don't be don't be surprised when people crash out in the media, celebrities and stuff. You know, it's like they're just usually normal people, whatever, and they, you know, the only reason we see this stuff is because the media has the attention on them. And if the media had the attention on any of us else, you know, then, um, let's hope we can not do that, you know. And so, yeah, okay. But don't assume that you won't, because the odds are that you would. Um, they're probably there. So, thank you guys for watching. Um, I know my videos are kind of low quality. I just kind of record myself off my phone, but um, thank you guys for watching. Anyways, maybe I'll upgrade the quality of my videos at some point. You know, maybe if it starts getting a little attention, I'll invest more into it or whatever. But um, yeah, um, I wanted to make videos every day. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that's a promise I can make. But I still would like to just try to make videos when I can. So yes, thank you guys for watching. Peace.